in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Trudging Thursdays. Hey, hola. Hi, my friends. Happy Thursday. Although it seems like I'm the only one out of all my friends that got any sleep today. So I'm sorry that some of my friends are having a harder day. That sucks. That sucks. If you need me, I'm here. Good morning, Leisure. Good to see you. Leisure put out his Wednesday edition. All right, just go look up Leisure. I doubt there's any other people running around calling themselves Leisure. All right. Actually, there's probably a million of them. Probably a million of them. Hi, Amber. Good to see you. Amber's doggy is sick. And in the program, we take our pets very, very seriously. So if we could have prayers for Sadie, that what the vet gave them will help get through them, we would appreciate it. Yes, you can find it at Scott Leisure, that being Leisure, Leisure. Because for some reason, I always thought Leisure had an A in it. Why do I think that? It's probably my dyslexia. How do you spell leisure? Yeah.
The word is spelled Leisure.
Yeah, it sure is. I just thought maybe you changed it or something. Nope. That's not how it's spelled. Okay. Yeah, sometimes I still have to look up words and see how things are spelled. And that's just, yeah. It doesn't help that they keep changing the English language, and how I talk is no longer cool. You know, I'm not current on all the buzzwords. All right. Today we're talking about no opinion on outside issues, and I kind of try and stay that way on Facebook also because of what I do. I'm not really allowed opinions on outside issues. Why? Because it runs people off for some reason. All right. It does. We got, can we not accept, all my friends, every single one of my friends, they do not care who I voted for. They don't care how I feel about trans. They don't care how I feel about immigration or ICE or any of this going on at any particular time. They do not care my opinion on it. No. Because we have one primary purpose: to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Everything else is an outside issue. If we start to take on outside issues, now imagine suddenly Jelly Roll decides to take a side on something. I'm just using him as an example. A phenomenal artist. He's a great artist. He is. And I'm very proud of him for losing all that weight. Good job. All right. And I say that because I'm not a huge Jelly Roll fan, so I'll try and look for good. He's a good guy, man. Fuck it. Leisure says, I spell badass Badass. I spell leisure Badass. God, see my dyslexia. Ruins My dyslexia ruins jokes all the time, or it creates a joke like a Freudian slip. I'm gonna brag about myself a little bit here because when it comes to the podcast, I'm pretty flexible, and people, even yesterday, we were supposed to do that 2 weeks ago, but something came up. Okay? And the way I work it is if God says we're going to do it, then we're going to do it. If God says we are not going to do it, then clearly he has other plans. That's the way that I work it. I do not get. I had one person text me this week. Yeah, Amber is your friend, right? Sasa Dob. Oh, because it's badass. Spelled backwards. Got it. Because of the dyslexia. Got it. Did you hear about the atheist dyslexic who didn't believe in dog? All right. What was I talking about? I don't even remember. Let's talk about something. Something that happened. Oh, they sent me a message. Do you mind if we do the podcast during spring break? I'm like, sure, but I'm 55 and have no idea when spring break is anymore. I don't know when is that? March? Because March 20th is the first day. I'd mind. Can you get in touch with me at the beginning of May? I'm like, sure, if I remember. I mean, that's kind of far out. Dion, can we book for February? I mean, it's 2 days to February. We can always book in advance. I will book up to about a month in advance. Yes, Amber, your friend that texted. Yep. And showed up to the in-person meeting with us one time and got me in trouble because of her kids, which I still find funny. All right. Before we get started, you know what time it is? It is time for Dion's Daily Funnies. Let's do it. What's the difference between a well-dressed man on a unicycle and a poorly dressed man on a bicycle? We just did this one the other day, but we're going to do it anyway. A tire. Yeah. Where do pirates go to get their hooks? Secondhand stores. It's a great place. The Segundo. Ark. Goodwill. Great place to find that secondhand. All right. Of all the inventions in the last 100 years, the dry erase board has to be the most remarkable. Yeah. Not everybody's going to get this joke, but all drug users will. In America, using the metric system can get you in legal trouble. Because the only thing that we use for metric here is dealing drugs. All right. What do you call a line of men waiting to get haircuts? A barbecue. Yeah, it's a barbecue. We're gonna do one more. We'll move on with this. In fact, if you sneer at any other method of measuring liquids, you may be held in contempt of court. I like those jokes because they challenge me. Spring. Amber says spring break is not in May. See, yeah, see. Like, how long can we put this off? How much? Let's see how long we can book out on Dion and get away with it. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'll forget about you. If you're not usually in my life, I will tend to forget about you. So I put in May 1st, follow up with so-and-so. All right. Welcome to Daily Trudge. I am the pod father. Most people call me Dion, but you may call me the Pod Father. This is something I'm going to be using. I'm going to try it. But the thing is, I don't have much in the way of patience. If it doesn't hook very quickly, I usually tend to forget that I even do it. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. It's just a name that's sticking. And several people in the community have started calling me the Pod Father. These are people that are like running for mayor and stuff. It's all right. This is a daily reflection, but not today's daily reflection because, well, I didn't feel like covering the 12-step promises. It just, my gut said now that was not what we were doing today. So we're going to read the reflection first, which is from October 28th. An unbroken tradition. We conceive the survival and spread of Alcoholics Anonymous to be something of far greater importance than the weight we could collectively throw back at any other cause. All right? 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 177. And we'll get more into it. We're going to go to the 12 by 12 on page 1. I think it's 175. 176 is where we're at. The Podinator. I'll be back. Did you know? I saw an interview on that, and Arnold Schwarzenegger really wanted to say, "I will be back." He's like, that is the correct pronunciation, right? It wasn't James Cameron who did the Terminator. I think it was, right? And so he's like, if not, then just insert said director, right? And James Cameron says this to him. He said, we got to get this right. We got to get it right. Okay. Who directed the Terminator? James Cameron. Yay. Okay. So James Cameron and them are talking, and James Cameron goes, Arnold, do I tell you how to act? And he goes, no. And he says, then don't tell me how to fucking write. Say the line. Could you? And it was like this. Look it up. And I'll be back became one of the most famous lines in movie history. All right. So, how much it means to me that an unbroken tradition of more than half a century is a thread that connects me to Bill W. and Dr. Bob. That an unbroken tradition of more than half a century, almost a century now, AA will be 91 years old this year. I was 90, now I'm 91. I was 90, but now I'm 91. I was free, but now I'm full. Because we just gotten started. We barely even touched what we can get done. All right. But what they're saying here is that connection that we have to Bill and Bob. Even almost a century later, we do. God will disclose more to you and to us. There are still people around who might have been sponsored by one of the original 100. It is possible. 50, let's say one person had 50 years, the other one had 40. There's 90 years. There you go. Out of two people. Could you imagine if we put all of our time together, how much time it would be? It would be enormous, man. Anyway, all right. How much more I feel grounded to be in the fellowship whose aims are constant and unflagging. I am grateful that the energies of AA have never been scattered, but focused instead on our members and on individual sobriety. Excuse me. My beliefs are what make me human. I am free to hold any opinion. I'm so sorry. But AA's purpose, so clearly stated 50 years ago, is for me to keep sober. That purpose has promoted round-the-clock meeting schedules and thousands of intergroup and central office service offices with their thousands of volunteers. Like the sun focused through a magnifying glass, AA's single vision has lit a fire of faith and sobriety in millions of hearts, including mine. Oh, so sweet. Right. And it's cool how our traditions continue to move on, right? It's the collective. Right. The Borg. Resistance is futile. Alcoholic Tradition 10. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. Hence the AA name. The AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. It gets pulled into a lot of controversy nowadays because people want to whine and complain. It gets pulled into a lot of controversy nowadays, but it shouldn't be. All right. What did Will Smith say? Keep AA out of your damn mouth. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, shut your fucking mouth. Like how I did that. I got all mean by saying be nice. That was funny. All right. Never since it began has Alcoholics Anonymous been divided by a major controversial outside issue. It does not have outside in there. I'm putting outside in there because I have seen some pretty major controversial things that have divided us. Yeah. Most recently, the Plain English Big Book was not voted on. That's not how we do that. People just wanted to put it out because alcoholics are selfish and they want to do what they want to do. And they very much took credit for it too. See how high we can jump? Look how high we can jump. We didn't need the Plain English Big Book. It was a waste of time. It was a waste of money. And now what it's going to do is kill other people. Good job. Great job. Because you wanted what you wanted. Good job. There's going to be a price for that. There's going to be a big price, and it will be paid at the end. All right. Nor has our fellowship ever publicly taken sides on any question in an embattled world. That I have not seen. This, however, has been no earned virtue. It could almost be said that we were born with it, for as one old-timer recently declared, practically never have I heard a heated religious, political, or reform argument among AA members. That I can absolutely agree with. So long as we don't argue these matters privately, it's a cinch we never shall publicly. Now, the other day we were talking before the meeting, and it was getting a little political. We weren't talking politics, but it was getting a little political, and the conversation was ended. Somebody says, hey, this is getting a little too political, a little too heated. We can't talk about this here. And I was proud because it was my sponsee that said that. Good job. Got to be careful. I have to be careful on what I bring up here. Yeah. Every now and again, I get a little daring and I lose listeners. That's a bummer. But you didn't come here to listen to my outside issues opinions, did you? Yeah. All right. Leisure says a person would have to be a special kind of special to talk badly about AA. Sounds like an ego problem to me. Yeah. What I hear is I was not willing to do the work, nor did you put enough effort in to actually see it. Did you even try and do a 4-step? You're talking crap about AA. Did you read the big book? Well, no. Well, then it isn't that you know that you think badly of AA. It's that you're a dumbass. You're talking on something you've never even tried and or done. Okay? I'm going to tell you something. An alcoholic will look for the easier, softer way all the time until we get into the steps, until we start to do things with our lives and make progress. We will do the wrong thing. We will look for that easier, softer way every fucking time. Oh, well, Dion, isn't that treatment a little bit easier? Okay, I don't do easy treatment. Yeah, it is easier. That's why I don't want you to go there. You are exactly correct. Swimming pools, fucking tennis courts, jacuzzis. Come on. Come on. Let's go for a damn walk. Okay, treatment centers do not need to be posh. There's my outside opinion. So long as we don't argue these matters privately, it's such we don't do it publicly. Now, as an AA member, You get your opinion on anything you want. We live in the United States. We have Amendment 2. We get to speak our minds, right? But you don't start your Facebook post with, my name's Dion. I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I don't think that blah, 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 right? Most people probably don't even know that you're in it. Well, everybody knows. Everybody knows me, but I'm so blown my anonymity. As by some deep instinct, we AAs have known from the very beginning that we must never, no matter what the provocation, publicly take sides in any fight, even a worthy one. Well, who gets to deem its worthiness? Okay. Now, I really do everything that I can to stay out of the storm. I do. It's hard to stay away from it, though, because I can tell Facebook all I want, that I don't want this and I don't want that, but it isn't going to stop. It just wants to feed me negative information. Some people want the world divided because then they can make more money. There's my outside issues again. See how easy it is to slip into that. I'm allowing myself to do it so I can call myself out here. Sometimes I do things wrong on purpose so I can. Anyway, I don't think you care. All right. All history affords us the spectacle of striving nations and groups finally torn asunder because they were designed for or tempted into controversy. I watched this happen with a couple people in my home group about 3 months ago. One person got an idea in their head that I was doing something and started to spread this rumor. Before I knew it, it was to 3 or 4 people, and they've decided not to come back. They started a fight. The fight did not continue, so they left. Okay, I'm not going to be provoked into controversy. Well, I might be, but it's going to be pretty hard to do. All right. And you better watch out if you do. Whatever. Others fell apart because of sheer self-righteousness while trying to enforce upon the rest of mankind some millennium of their own specification. In our own times, we have seen millions die in political and economic wars, often spurred by religious and racial difference. We live in the imminent possibility of a fresh Holocaust to determine how men shall be governed and how products of nature and toil shall be divided among them. That is the spiritual climate in which AA was born, and by God's grace has nevertheless flourished. Yeah, and we're still doing it to this day. Yeah. Now, I'm not, I am sure that I've heard something political or an outside issue before or after an AA meeting. I'm sure I've heard it, but I'm pretty sure it got quelched pretty darn quickly. Yeah. Even in our clubs, we don't sit around and cry about the state of the nation. Usually when we don't get this anymore anyway, because clubs don't stay open. They are only open for meetings now because it's very expensive to stay open, which sucks. Really got to change that. All right. Let us re-emphasize that this reluctance to fight one another or anybody else is not counted as some special virtue, which makes us feel superior to other people. No. No, I'm not doing this so that other people think, well, man, that Dion, he's got some kind of special virtue over there. No, I do it for my peace of mind, not for clout. I do it for my peace of mind. Because if I'm not caught up in everything, well, oh, wow, then I am of more use to God and the world around me. Right? Bloody well, right. You got a right to say, right. Bloody well, right. Super Trent. It's called right, I think. No, they should just name it bloody well, right. All right. It's not called that. I don't know what it is. Nor does it mean that the members of Alcoholics Anonymous, now restored as citizens of the world, are going to back away from their individual responsibilities to act as they see the right upon the issues of our time. I advocate a lot. I went to and did something last Thursday. I'm supposed to go to a town meeting tonight, but I'm not going to be able to make it because I got to run the whatchamacallit, the group conscience. Okay. There's going to be other, I think you know what though? I think their meetings are on the third Thursday of each month, and that's exactly when our group conscious is. But anyway, like I went to go talk about this detox last week. And one of the things I was going to bring up was the lack of communication from one side, but it got taken care of. So what I did is I went to tradition 10 and I became neutral. See, it was the traditions that taught me how to do this. Instead of saying, you're wrong, because both sides were kind of being wrong. There's some stigma going on. Okay. There was. It was not intentional. It's just they had their feelings. All right. So I got to be neutral. So instead of pointing fingers, I pointed at all of them and said, instead of us bickering, going back and forth, why don't we come together and find a place that we can all agree on? Let's put some effort into this. I challenge that you put more prevention in your schools. Despite whether we put the detox there or not, you need more prevention. You do, because you have none. None. Okay. And I'm not picking on harm reduction, but harm reduction is not prevention. It's not. That is not the prevention we're talking about. Anyway, all right. So as an individual member, you'll be able to do these things. But, and I've been asked this, Dion, are you with AA? I'm like, no, I'm not. I just say, no, I'm not. Well, where are you from? Well, people ask me that all the time. Who are you with? Well, me, myself, and I. Yeah. I tell them I run a company called Trudging Together, but otherwise I'm just a guy in Northglenn trying to make a difference. Do I need to be tied to something? Why do I? It is the number one question I get when I advocate. Who do you represent? What do you mean, who do I represent? What the fuck are you talking about? I represent me. I represent the truth. What do you want? All right. But when it comes to AA as a whole, it's quite a different matter. In this respect, we do not enter into public controversy because we know that our society will perish if it does. We conceive the survival and spread of Alcoholics Anonymous to be something of far greater importance than the weight we could collectively throw at any other cause. Since recovery from alcoholism is life itself to us, it is imperative that we preserve in full strength our means of survival. Not only that, but when it comes to other things, there might be other people who are better suited to help them. And A is a good guide for that. Hey, maybe you have an addiction to meth and you come into an AA meeting. We're probably going to try and get you to NA. Because those people understand a little bit more. All right, just real quick. Because the 2% thing's going around again. This is a lie. That only 2% of meth people make it. Bullshit. That's not true. And if you're tattooing it on you and spreading it around, then you're spreading the lie also. Put some thought into this. You're an intelligent person, okay? If only 2% made it, then how is NA even around? How is Narcotics Anonymous still around? How is Meth Anonymous still around if only 2% make it? No. This was a very, very evil thing. I don't know who put it out or where it originated from. I tried to find out, but I'm pretty sure it's the government. It's probably our health administration. That's my guess. There I am. And I just brought all sorts of political in, didn't I? Okay. So my point is, don't believe the 2%. It's not true. Okay. How is it that you have information at your fingertips, but you continue to stay naive. Ask Google. All right. Maybe this sounds as though the alcoholics in AA had suddenly gone peaceable and become one great big happy family. No, that is not what happened. Of course, that isn't so at all. Human beings that we are, we squabbled before we leveled off a butt. AA looked more like one prodigious squabble than anything else, at least on the surface. A corporation director who had just voted a company expenditure of $100,000 would appear at an AA business meeting and blow his top over an outlay of $25 worth needed of postage stamps. Disliking the attempt of some to manage a group, half its membership might angrily rush off to form another group before their liking. Elders, temporarily turned Pharisee, have sulked. Bitter attacks directed against people suspected of mixed motives. That happened to me. Despite their din, our puny rows never did AA a particle of harm. They were just a part and parcel of learning to work and live together. Let it be noted, too, that they were almost always concerned with ways to make AA more effective, how to do the most good for the most alcoholics. That's what we're about. What can we do? That's what our group consciousnesses are about. How can we make the group better for the newcomer? How can we attract more people? When people do show up, what are we doing to try and help them stay or maybe help them find their own home group, right? Amber says 75% make it. And that number is closer to the truth. Yes. There's a whole thing on it. I just don't have time today. But it's somewhere in the big book. Is it in the big book or is it in the 12 by 12? I don't remember. We can go look. Let's go look it up though. All right. After a minute. The Washingtonian Society, a movement among alcoholics which started in Baltimore a century ago, almost discovered the answer to alcoholism. Yeah. Think you might have been a Washingtonian. Now, the Washingtonians got up to about 200,000 people. Then they took a side on something, and that was it. That's how we learned not to do it. Otherwise, they'd probably still be around, right? At first, the society was composed entirely of alcoholics trying to help one another. There we go. The early members foresaw that they should dedicate themselves to this sole aim. In many respects, the Washingtonians were akin of AA today. Their membership passed the 100,000 mark. Had they been left to themselves and they had stuck to their one goal, they might have found the rest of the answer. But this didn't happen. Instead, the Washingtonians permitted politicians, reformers, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic, to use society for their own purposes. That would drive a schism right through AA. It would drive it right through it, and that would be it. So when I'm over here, why does it scare me that the plain English big book went out without any thought of anybody, without any vote? It just happened. How did it get written? Who wrote it? Because it wasn't God. That book may create, if they got away with that, then how are we going to stop them from creating a schism because they want what they want? Alcoholics are selfish to the fucking bone. Yeah. There's even a movie out now called The Conscious Contact of Bill W. This is not AA approved. They are making money off of it. I confronted them on it. I confronted them so much, they said, can you please stop posting on our stuff? That means I was right. Did they get permission? No. They just did it. And that is alcoholic behavior. Okay, how long have you been sober? Well, I knew these people. And, this person was from Archives, the same place that put out the the Plain English Big Book. And he bragged about it. And that's where I caught him. I said, "Oh, you're the person that put out the Plain English Big Book without any vote." See, that's where I caught him. He tried to brag, and I took his brag and put him down, put him to size. You know, bragging that you were the archives. Screw you. I'll cut you off at your kneecaps, dude. All right. Anyway, abolition of slavery, for example, was a storing political issue then. Soon, Washingtonian speakers violently and publicly took sides on this question. Maybe the society could have survived the abolition controversy, but it didn't have a chance from the moment it determined to reform America's drinking habits. With the Washingtonians became temperate crusaders, within a very few years, they had completely lost their effectiveness in helping other alcoholics. It's because they didn't have it anymore. It was gone. It was now gone. Okay. The reason I started the grassroots meeting is because no matter what happens to AA, at least I'll have that. The lesson to be learned from the Washingtonians was not overlooked by Alcoholics Anonymous. As we surveyed the wreck of that movement, early AA members resolved to keep our society out of public controversy. Woo! Thus was laid the cornerstone for Tradition 10. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. Now let's look up some stats here real quick, see what we can come up with. All right, so how many meth users stay clean? What percentage of addicts stay clean? Now, this comes from Resurgence Behavioral Health. After a full year and addiction treatment with around 80 to 85% relapsing in that time, meaning only 15 to 20% had made it. This one says 30%. Right? So they're not going to give it, they're not going to give you the stats because it depends on who you're asking. What is the percentage of people that stay clean after meth use? So you got to ask it the right question too. 30 to 50%. See, it really depends. How long are we talking about? This goes 5 years out, 23 to 50%. Right? Now, the 75% that Amber is talking about is Alcoholics Anonymous. We have a success rate of 75%. We do. And I know because I'm in the rooms and I can see it. I can see it. All right. No opinion on outside issues. Let's keep that up. Let's keep AA going. It's got to be there for the next person, right? Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And keep on trudging.